Now, video number 16, we will discuss rural development. Now, rural development, from here we can understand the development of rural areas with respect to, of course, India. Now, Mahatma Gandhi once said, the real progress of India did not mean simply the growth and expansion of industrial urban centers, but mainly the development of villages. Why the development of villages? Because two-thirds of India's population depends on agriculture, and agriculture is a main occupation in the rural areas. And one-third of the rural India lives in poverty. So the development of villages or rural areas would mean the actual development or the real progress of India. Now, if you look at the GDP contribution in agriculture, it has decelerated to 3% per annum during the year 1991 2012. Now, if you notice over here, this is 1991, which is when the reforms were introduced. Now, the reason for this is the decline in public investment, especially in the infrastructure in the rural areas. Now, what actually rural development means? It is a comprehensive action plan for the development of rural areas which are lagging behind socially and economically. What does this mean? This means that there is inadequate infrastructure, lack of alternate employment opportunities, and increasing casualization of employment, etc. However, there are certain challenges, the first of them being human resources. That is, the literacy or the education system and the health of the rural people. We already learned in the human development or human capital formation how literacy education helps in improving the skill of a person, that would improve the productivity, and how health would contribute because of non-absenteeism from work. So human resources is one of the most important things in rural development. And then land reforms. Then comes infrastructure development, that is connectivity, roads, railways, electricity, etc. form the infrastructure development. And poverty alleviation. We learned one-third of the rural people is poor. So poverty alleviation programs are very important in order to uplift the rural poor. So how can we help? So we will discuss certain points as to how we can help in bringing about the rural development. So first among them is to provide rural credit. Rural credit should be provided for higher productivity to enable them avail loans so that they can invest in various purposes in order to bring about productivity. Then for investment purposes during lag period. This lag period is between the sowing and harvesting time when the farmers literally have no income. So rural credit plays a very important role during this period. But then what are the sources of rural credit? We know of two sources, the non-institutional sources and the institutional sources. The non-institutional sources are landlords, village traders, money lenders, and most of the credit needs of the farmers were met through these sources. And 93% of the total borrowings of the farmers in the beginning of the first 5-year plan was through non-institutional sources. And now in 1981, the institutional sources emerged. What were those institutional sources? The government, cooperative credit societies, commercial banks like the State Bank of India and the Grameen Bank, regional rural banks, and together they form the multi-agency system. Of all these institutional sources, the cooperatives credit societies are very important because They provide credit to the farmers at reasonable rate of interest. They provide guidance in diverse agricultural operations, and they also ensure timely and rapid flow of credit to the farmers. Now, coming to commercial banks like the SBI and the Grameen banks, which was set up at a later date after the nationalization of the banks in 1969. These offered credit directly to the farmers as well as indirectly through cooperative societies. Then the regional rural banks or the RRBs and the land development banks were set up in the remote rural areas and the backward districts. Their main focus was on credit needs of weaker sections of the rural population. NABARD or National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development. It's an acronym. You can read it: National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development. Set up in 1982. It is an apex body to coordinate activities of all institutions involved in the rural financing system. Okay, it undertakes the training of personnel and also monitoring and evaluation of projects refinanced by it. The self-help groups and microcredit programs are an emerging phenomena in the context of rural credit. Now, these are beneficial to rural, especially women who form small groups, and these groups pool money. The self-help groups, the name itself gives us an insight into it. Groups that help themselves. Groups that help themselves form the self-help groups. They pool this money and give credit to needy members at reasonable interest rates that are repayable in small installments. And these self-help groups, they act like a catalyst for rural development, women and social empowerment. They increase employment opportunities, give more access to government schemes. They also increase the standard of living in the rural areas. They encourage financial discipline and an improved living conditions. The greatest advantage of the self-help groups is that there is no collateral required. And this has helped in women empowerment because most of them, of these self-help groups, are women. So the other advantages include reduced influence of informal lenders. Since they themselves pool money, they do not have to go to any informal lender. Also, apart from helping each other financially, women discuss their problems and find solutions to their problems. It's one of those which help in poverty elevation. So, one of the studies also showed that these self help groups can be advantageous in poverty elevation in the rural areas. However, it has a drawback too, that the borrowings are confined to consumption purposes rather than productive investment. So, if there is any program in the house, some ceremony has to be performed. So, most of the times, these borrowings, they are used for those purposes rather than for productive investment. One of the most successful SHGs can be given as an example, this Kudumbashri or Poor Women's Bank, which came up in Kerala, which is a women-oriented community-based poverty reduction program. Okay, so in 1995, a thrift and credit society was started as a small savings bank for poor women with the objective to encourage savings. So it mobilized 1 crore as thrift savings. And it is one of the largest informal banks in Asia in terms of participation and savings mobilized.